Unconfirmed report is indicating that the Chief Executive Officer of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals has been picked up by the Nima police in Accra. We're getting more information right from the police station later on today's big story. My name is Bright Nanamfo. Thanks so much for staying right there for us. Don't forget that the Tobinco FDA saga has been raging on for the past weeks. It started with the fact that there were some fake drugs on the market. And of course, the issue attracted a lot of concerns with the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Eventually, the Health Committee of Parliament asking the media to cease fire and deciding to go ahead and resolve that particular impasse. Information we are picking up is indicating that the Chief Executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals has been picked up by the police at the Nima police station here in Accra. We're getting more information from there very soon right here on today's big story. But don't also forget that the FDA boss is being reassigned by the president. And we've been asking if indeed that reassignment has to do with the Tobinco pharmaceutical issue. Don't also forget that over the week we found Tobinco staff engaging in a church service, a prayer, asking God to intervene in the tussle between the Food and Drugs Authority and Tobinco Pharmaceuticals. We'll be getting you what exactly is happening at the Nima police station in a jiffy. But before that, a former judge of the Supreme Court, Justice Vincent Krapp, says the country needs rebels in Parliament who will defy the government of the day and vote according to their own conscience. I'll be telling you more about the issue from the Nima police station in Accra. The news is that the Chief Executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals has been picked up by the police. We're still getting information right there from there. But before that, Justice Krapp, who further entreated members of Parliament to demonstrate a sense of independent mindedness in their deliberations and voting on issues of national interest.
At the end of 2012, foreign direct investment was in the region of $4.3 billion. Today, it's around $3.2 billion. That means that investors naturally hesitated because of the uncertainty of the political system and the uncertainty. And Mr. Speaker, I dare ask them, how many of you didn't tell your constituents to wait for the outcome of the Supreme Court? So was the case of many investors into our economy who needed to be assured of the certainty of his political leadership. We urge our colleagues to abandon partisan rebellion of this initiative of wanting to adjust VAT upwards and support the minister. I know in the unforeseen future that they may lead and govern this country, they will not do away with the tax regime. So please, for the first time in many years, there are some incentives given to raw materials which will support the productive sectors of our economy, particularly those into printing, that if they brought raw materials in, they will get some incentives from him.
Government has recognized a special role for the private sector by providing this facility. Mr. Speaker, we all know that the same government has provided facilities for RLG.
Honourable member, please, you are...
He's misleading the House.
Honourable member...
So it cannot be the first time. It cannot be the first time.
Honourable member,
So
please.
I just want to remind him that...
You're welcome back. Let me again tell you that the chief executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals has been picked up by the Nima police station. We're getting information from the station and we'll be filling you in on exactly what is happening there. But we're also staying on our issue where Justice V.C.R.A.C. Crab is suggesting that Ghana's parliament need rebels in order to ensure that we have that kind of good governance. Dr. Ali Dusedu is a political scientist there from the University of Ghana. He's just joined me on this discussion. Dr. Seydou, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Do we need rebels in Ghana's parliament? We're talking about ensuring good governance. We're talking about ensuring that policies that are not in the interest of the people do not get the green light from members of parliament. The suggestion is that we need rebels. Do you think same?
Yeah, I will not describe them as rebel MPs for standing in the interest of their constituents and not party.
Right.
First of all, members of parliament are elected to represent their constituencies first and not the party. Even though the party is the vehicle or the platform through which most of them go to parliament, I believe members of parliament represent their constituents. That is why we have an independent candidate going to parliament without even standing on the ticket of a party. So you first of all must represent the interests of your constituency,
right,
and not the party. The party only comes in when the interest of the party serves the interest of the constituency that you are serving. But when you look at the provision of the Constitution, Ghana will practice the hybrid system of government, which allows to some extent fusion of powers between the legislature and the executive. For example, the Constitution says that majority of our ministers must come from parliament. So as a result of this provision, majority of MPs warm up the legislature, warm up to the executive, so that they will be given political appointments, deputy ministerial appointments or ministerial appointments. So because of that, they have been so soft on government, so that they will win the attention of the executive and get those appointments. But when we move beyond serving that individual interest of MP who want to become members of the executive, they must serve their constituents. And I believe that the first and foremost thing is that if a policy is going to be passed in parliament which doesn't favor your constituents, you must resist it,
right,
no matter which party proposes it as an MP.
Right. Dr. Ali, to stay on the line for me, let me also speak to the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Dominic Nituul. He's just joined this discussion. Thanks so much for your time. Now, Dr. Ali categorized a list, and he said that because of ABC, the fact that some MPs would have to wait upon the executive for positions, they are unable to vote. How should I put it? Individually, they always vote on partisan lines. Is that the case?
Hello?
Honorable Nituul, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Right. I was asking that Dr. Ali Dusedu is suggesting that because some MPs would have to wait on the executive for positions, and because of several other reasons, MPs tend to vote on partisan lines, but not because policies will go in the best interest of Ghanaians. Is that what is happening?
No. Let me greet your cherished listeners once again, and I'm privileged to be on your network. First of all, MPs all over the world, even in the United States, sometimes take partisan lines for some reason. That's why we have what we call a whip everywhere. If you go to the Westminster, who started Parliament with the French, they have what we call a whip. And you have a 2-line whip, a 3-line whip, because of certain interest.
Right.
You remember that before you come to Parliament, you have 2 interests. You have partisan interest and you have the interest of the people. It depends on the individual MP. And that's why in the United States, though you may have partisan things, your own records will show along the line one day because they record your voting pattern. Whichever vote you take on a particular matter, they record it. So it is not entirely true that MPs will vote in partisan basis in Ghana because they are looking to be ministers. Even in areas like Nigeria, in areas like the United States or Kenya, where we have a clear demarcation of functions between Parliament and the executive, you still have MPs voting along party lines or along political lines.
So how would you...
in Ghana, it is true in Ghana that to some extent, the fact that the president will select some people from parliament as ministers, the fusion type, where you have some members of parliament becoming MPs, could influence some MPs in the way they vote. It makes some MPs timid. It makes MPs unnecessarily partisan, and makes MPs not be able to speak their mind. If you do, then you become the rebel, what you would normally call the rebel, the outcast. You are out of the line. So the party line is very strong in Ghana because of that.
So first of all, you accept the fact that some MPs simply would vote on party lines, no matter what that particular policy is all about.
First of all, it's difficult in most instances in Parliament. We vote in the interest of the nation. In fact, in 99% of the cases, we vote in the interest of the nation. And if you come to Parliament, most things are done by consensus through what we call the committee level. But the controversial ones are those that come to the public. And that's what you see.
How would you react? Honorable Nitwa, how would you react if the public concern is that on 99% of issues, you vote on party lines, and that you only vote 1% in the interest of the public?
No, it's rather the opposite. On 99% of the issues, we vote along the interest of the nation. That means that we route it through the committee levels. We agree at the committee, both MPP, NDC, or majority, minority. We agree, and then we vote and we pass it without any rancor. Right. But the 1 or 2% that we disagree because of party positions, and we vote on party lines. So it's not true. In fact, I can tell you 98 to 99% of the issues, we vote according to the views that the people of Ghana expected. That is according to the people's view. But there's some 2% that we disagree strongly, and we take party lines, and we vote according to that. Unfortunately, what normally comes out to the public is the 2%. The STS, the CNTCI bill, the VAT bill. They are those that come to the public because what makes news are the controversial issues. And so the public is fed by the controversial issues. But if you go to the parliament, all the committee work, all the reports that are generated, they are issues, but we vote not according to party lines, but in the interest of the nation. So anybody who says that parliament is overly partisan, I disagree with him. In fact, 98% of the issues, we usually debate them at the committee levels. We have our differences, but we agree. Okay, we vote. If the majority carries the vote, we bring it as the committee's report. You do not come to the floor and say because you disagree, because of that you are going to walk out or you are going to not agree. No, we say this is a committee's report of Parliament. We take it like that. And remember that all the committees are formed by 48%, 52%. 48 for the minority, 52 for the majority. So if there are 5 members, you are going to have 3 majority, 2 minority, and we form that, and we agree at the committee levels, and then we come to the floor, we pass it as a consensus in the interest of the state and in the interest of the people.
Right.
But there are some 2% issues that are controversial. These controversial issues are those that the parties take partisan lines, and you want to take partisan lines, you expect members to vote on partisan lines.
Let me speak to the political scientist, Dr. Seidu. Now, Dr. Seidu, do you see a way out of this?
Yeah, I think there are several ways. One, we have to examine the provision that majority of our ministers must come from the House of Legislature.
Right.
Because that one creates more fusion of powers between the executive and then the legislature. And until we have a little bit of separation of powers between these two institutions, the independence of one will be overshadowed by the dominance of the other. And we have seen this several times that in cases where policies are coming from the executive arm of government, and where the sector minister who is proposing or introducing that bill to Parliament is also a member of the executive, definitely there's going to be that sort of partisan influence on the way he is going to present that particular bill and the way it's going to be debated. So the first has to do with trying as much as possible to have a second look at the provision which says that majority of our members of executive, that is, state ministers, must come from parliament. And two, we also have to do as much as possible to educate our MPs must cultivate the habit of trying as much as possible to pass bills and legislation that serve the interests of the people first, the citizens.
Right.
And consider the partisan interests of the parties that they represent. If we are able to put national interests beyond partisan interests, we'll be able to do away with some of these issues that have been bedeviled our politics for some time now.
Dr. Seydou, thanks so much for speaking to me. Honorable Nituwole is still there. Now, Honorable, Dr. Seydou is suggesting that perhaps if we put the public interest ahead of our parties, we can make some headway.
First of all, I just told you that in 98% to 99% of the cases, we are serving the people.
But
we don't serve the interest of the party. I'm coming.
The public does not agree with you.
I'm coming. We don't serve the interest of the party. But in the 2% case, I agree with him entirely that we are very partisan when it comes to issues like that. If it is a 2% that it thinks that is a problem, and for that matter, we should couple parliament from the executive. I do not think that I will disagree with him. If he thinks the 2% is so bad, okay, which I think is not, if you compare to what happens in other countries, the 2% disagreement that we have is not very bad. You're not going to have an institution like parliament, which is very political. It's the highest political decision maker of any country. It's the highest platform where you make your politics. Okay, so if he thinks that 2% is too bad, and because of that, we have to change the system that we have, I don't disagree with him. In fact, some of us believe that to make parliament even stronger, we may have to completely disengage members of parliament from becoming ministers for our own sake, for the sake of parliament. So I in that respect, I do agree, but I do not agree that because of the way the system is, we are overly too political. We are not, because most issues are done by consensus through a non-political way. But there's a 2% that we could improve.
And so you're saying that Ghana's parliament, there will be no need for what is being referred to as rebels.
No, it's a red herring. There's no need for us to be agitated or kicking ourselves that we are too bad and we are too bad. It's not. It's never true. It's never true. There are parliaments that could be worse than what we are doing now, even though they are separate. But I'm saying that we can improve. There's a chance for us to improve our system. Okay, whether we are separate or we are together as we have currently, there's a chance for us to improve. But it's never true that because we are having a fusion, that's why things are like this. In fact, if you go to some countries, they are more political than we are, though they are strictly separate. In Kenya, they are more political than we are, but they are strictly separate. In Nigeria, they take more political lines than us, but they are strictly separate. Even in the House of Commons, where every member of parliament becomes a minister, they are more political than us. They take political lines. You can just go and see what we call the Prime Minister's time on Wednesdays, and you would understand what I'm talking about. But I am saying that in spite of all this, the Ghana Parliament is doing their best, because in most cases, and if he cares to know, in most cases, members of Parliament agree. Because we have what we call a system of committees. When an issue, a bill comes, or a law comes, or an agreement comes, or a policy comes, it is referred to the committee. If you look at the committee report, in most times, it comes with a word that, by consensus, we have agreed. You think that the minority don't have a position? We do. You think the majority do not have a position? We do. But we agree in the interest of the state to say, well, let us agree to disagree, and then we come and say it's our consensus. We have our positions.
Right.
We allow the national interest to override our individual political interest. But some issues are just there. It is difficult for us to be able to have to put the national interest alone at the center. Political interest becomes very high in some of these cases. And when it happens like that, I beg to differ that you allow politicians to take their political interest, because we are all going to come and say, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to pass through Sunyani, and then we'll all meet in Kumasi. That's how the system is, and it will continue for a long time to come.
Right, thank you so much for speaking to me, Deputy Minority Leader Dominic Nita will speaking to me there on what Justice VC RAC Crab spoke about over the weekend, thinking the Ghana's parliament needs rebels in order to get governance right. Now, let me also tell you that the chief executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals has been picked up by the Ghana police at the Nima police station, and we're trying hard to get information from there. Don't also forget that Tobinco Pharmaceuticals and the Food and Drugs Authority have been in a tussle for over a month or two over the issue of fake drugs. It ended up in a lot of controversies, where you will find the management consultant, Professor Stephen Adai, insisting that the FDA is treating some companies with kid gloves, thinking that people who are alleged to be selling or getting fake drugs onto the Ghanaian market should be behind bars. And don't also forget that the Health Committee of Parliament it got into the fray, asking for a ceasefire and insisting that the media war between Tobinco Pharmaceuticals and FDA is simply unnecessary and not helping. It went on to say that it is stepping in to ensure that there is total peace. And again, you found Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, staff of that company, about 200 of them, on Thursday morning, getting onto the street and praying and asking God to intervene. According to staff of Tobinco, what is happening is something that perhaps is being carried on by evil forces. And so they went on their knees, prayed to God and asked God to intervene. Now, not long after, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, perhaps might have intervened because the boss of the FDA was reassigned to Cocoa Board. Mr. Opuni, Dr. Opuni was reassigned to Cocoa Board, whilst Mr. Tony Fofi was asked to act as the acting head of the Food and Drugs Authority. And we're told that the Nima police have picked up the chief executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals. Our reporters are almost getting there, and we're relying on them to get us through on exactly what is happening there. If it can be confirmed that the boss of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals has been picked up by the Nima police here in Accra. And don't also forget that the issue of fake drugs on the market is a worry to the public. And a lot of people have raised concerns about its effect on the health of people. A lot of them also raised concerns on what it is doing to healthcare in Ghana. And patients are taking in medicines that are certainly not rather curing their illnesses, but rather worsening them. And that's what the FDA says it is clamping down on. And a lot more people have been picked up. Well, and so we are also getting more information that the Economic and Organized Crimes Office brought the chief executive of pharmaceuticals company Tobinco to the Nima police station. As to why he was brought there, we're still getting that information, but the news just coming in right now is also indicating that Yoko actually brought Mr. Tobin, the chief executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, to the Nima police station. Why we are unable to confirm now, but the news is that he is currently at Nima police station, and he was brought there by the Economic and Organized Crime Office there. We're still getting in more information from there, but as I told you earlier, the war on the fake medicines has been on for some time. The FDA is trying to suggest that it is ready to take on people who are importing fake medicines into the country. Let me speak to Abigail Adumaku Entry, who is currently at the Nima police station here in Accra. Now, Abigail, thanks so much for your time. Now, we are being told that the Economic and Organized Crimes Office brought the chief executive of Tobinco to the Nima police station. Now, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, rightly, as you said, the chief executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals is in stores right now as I speak to you. He has been detained. We are yet to be told what exactly brought him here by Yoko. He's still in there, and the officials outside, I believe they are from Tobinco, trying to clarify issues. But we are still here. I'm trying to get more information, but looks like the officials here are quite tight-lipped because they actually do not know what brought him here, as it is in the hands of the Yoko.
We have learned that Yoko brought Mr. Tobin to the police station, the Nima police station precisely. Now,
exactly.
What is currently happening there? I'm talking about the mood there. Are there people there perhaps haven't gotten wind of what is happening there now?
Yes, there are lots of officials here. I can tell that there are some Tobinco officials here outside the police station right now, and there are people who have also come to what is happening. So there are quite a number of people gathered here, and like I said, I'm sure most of them are from Tobinco, because media persons also here trying to get some information from the police officials. But as I said earlier, they are quite tight-lipped and they do not want to let out any information. All they are saying is that they do not have any information on what brought Mr. Samuel Tobin here, and that subsequently they will be giving us information as and when Yoko tells them to do so. But what we know for sure is that Yoko brought Mr. Samuel Tobin, the CEO of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, in, and he has been detained. He's in South right now.
Have you perhaps seen him yourself physically?
Yes, I have. He is actually inside and trying to, as it were, get off a lot of people who want to see him. He has gone inside.
Abigail, tell me, what is his mood, his body language? What exactly can you read from Mr. Tobin as he sits behind bars now?
I can only imagine what's going in through his head, but what I can say is that he is actually very sober, quite calm, cool and collected. He's not really reacting too much to the whole situation. He's just calm and just behind the bars as he has been put there, trying to avoid a lot of looks. And the police have also tried to keep at bay the people who have stood in here. Because there are lots of people here trying to catch a glimpse of him, but the police have actually controlled them. So they are in clusters trying to get information. Those who are trying to get information are getting. Those who are chatting are chatting. A lot of activities going on outside the cell.
That portion of the ring road is prone to traffic around this time. And is the situation, as I'm describing it, perhaps traffic congestion as a result of Mr. Tobin being sent there?
Well, traffic is already mounting up here. This area is noted for its traffic situation, especially around this time. And, well, there's still traffic. As to whether it's because of this particular case, I cannot tell, but there's traffic at the moment.
Thank you so much. Abigail Adumakwinche is at the Nima Police Station, and what we can tell and confirm now is that the Economic and Organized Crime Office has taken the Chief Executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals to the Nima Police Station, and he has been detained. Officials of the Nima Police are unable to tell us why Yoko has brought Mr. Tobin there, but we'll be getting you more information why he's there and perhaps exactly the charges that will be preferred against him. You're also watching today's big story. We're wrapping up the first segment, and when we get interactive, we'll stay on this particular issue and get you more right here on the Joy News. Stay right there. I'm coming back in a moment. This is today's big story, and we can confirm that the Organized Crime Office has taken the chief executive of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals to the Nima police station. Nima police station officials are unable to tell us exactly why he's been brought there. We're gathering information and we'll get to you with it as and when it gets ready. But on the interactive side, we're telling you that the deaf risk losing their current place of study if 144,000 Ghana cedis of rent is not paid. That is the fate of students of the senior high school, school for the deaf there. And that's what we'll be talking about this interactive segment. And Lady Marianne has joined me. It's a sad situation.
It is.
Yes, really, schools and the government subvention kind of go through this, but really, this is a sad situation.
It is, and especially being persons with disability, they are very different from us, the abled people, and so perhaps they need extra care and attention, and also from government. And we don't even know what provisions were made for them in this year's budget, actually, to say, okay, how much money is government putting aside for these people, infrastructure, the buildings in which they go to school. So education, after all, is a right for all of us in this country. And so being abled or disabled should not hinder us from getting that.
From being able to access quality education.
Access to buildings. This thing has been going on for a long time, and government has implored everybody to even change the way buildings are accessed. Still, nothing has been done about it.
Welcome. Let's talk about it.
Thank you so much. Let's get interactive. My name is Marian Toure. So as we get interactive, I'd like to announce all the social media tools that you need to get in touch with the show. You would find us at facebook.com/joynews-on-TV. We have posts there, comment on them, and we will share them with the rest of the world. If you're sending us a tweet, please use Joy News on TV. That is our handle, at Joy News on TV. Use the hashtag JNInteractiveGH to send your tweets, so we'll be able to sort them and take them all at once. Send the emails to joynewsim@mototvworld.com. Our WhatsApp number is 0260518801. I am on Twitter too, and I tweet at MN Toure. And JN Interactive is where tech meets news to set the agenda. And students of a senior high technical school for the deaf risk losing their current place of study if 144,000 Ghana cedis of rent is not settled by close of this week. And you heard that, Nana Bright echoed that. And the property and landowners are demanding that the school pays all monies owed them, or they will forcibly be ejected from the buildings. But the school, which is under resource and depends on government subvention, which seldom comes, does not have that means to settle the debt. And my colleague would join me. Her name is Ya Fosua Jemfi. She covered the story over the weekend, and she will join me so that we will talk about the harsh realities of what is happening there at this particular moment. But I'd like to play a video blog for you before she joins us, and the dire situation that is happening there. Let's take a listen to this.
This month, November, I received a letter from the property owner through the legal counsel with an ultimatum to pay an accruing debt of 14,800 cedis, which accrued from January 2011 to date, or face eviction. Our grace period ended yesterday, so any moment from Monday, we could be served with a notice of eviction, or we don't know what. We have the classrooms also built on other people's properties. So we are in pieces of properties and then having to cope with a property.
in the studio with me to discuss the issue. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Maya.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Please, it's heart-rending, wrenching, in fact, to see something like that. I mean, I've been through the visuals that you brought us and also, heard most of the things that they were saying. But what is the issue? I mean, 144,000 Ghana cedis. How did all of this come about?
Okay, Marian, as we heard earlier from the head and teacher of the school, this has accrued since 2011. And he is the acting headmaster, and then he took office just this June. And these arrears have been there since 2011. So for 3 years now, they've not been able to pay the rent. And initially, they were paying an amount of 160 Ghana cedis. But when the landlord died, it was revised this year, and they are supposed to pay 400 Ghana cedis. And so this has been the situation. And Marian, it goes beyond just the rent that these institution has to pay. There are so many issues. We went in first to look at the safety of the students, walking from where their lectures take place and where their dormitories are. Was a worrying situation, because having students who are deaf, and working with their backs towards or high-speeding vehicles on this Mount Point Highway was something very disturbing. These students are knocked down day in and out. They are being harassed by some of these drivers who ply the route, and it's been a serious source of worry, because they don't have buses or means of transport from the dormitories to the school, and they have to do this 8 kilometers every day, because they move in the morning, come back in the afternoon for their siesta, then go back in the evening for their dinner and then their prep as well. And even in the night, it's worse off. When I spoke to one of the students, he told us it's so dangerous, and these students' life has been so much at risk. So apart from the rent, there are so many issues. Some visuals that we had, if it could be played, you would see that the classrooms itself are congested. In a special school, they are supposed to be seated in a horse formation form, 12 students, so that the teacher can even interact with these students. We have 40 of them in a class. And some of the seats, you see about 3 of them sharing a seat that's even meant for one student. And it's so pathetic.
But would you say that it just shows what kind of society that we have become now? That, we've become so individualistic that we're not even looking at the other people. Let's say the drivers, for instance. I mean, you're driving high speed and the people are in front of you. So in any case, you are driving, you are responsible. If they can't even see you, if you toot your horn and they can't hear you, you can be gentle.
Marian, you know that most of these drivers normally ply this route. Some too are just new on the route. So I think with those who are used to the route, they know where the school is situated. The school is situated just at the joint of 2 high speeding ways. And it's like that. Those who are used to the route know that these students are there, but those who are not, even some of them, I was told that they even harass them. They just park and try to push them off a bit, just try to harass them in a way. And these people can't hear, but at least when the school prefect was talking to me, he told me that they blow their horns at them, and he went like this, the sign language. He went like this, and you can see that it's so worrying. It's so worrying. And there's a part on the highway where it dips. And the space, the pavement is so narrow. So just imagine them walking with their back towards these cars, and they're blowing their horns and they can't hear, because they only communicate with what they see. Of course, signs. Signs and what they see. So if vehicles, oncoming vehicles, are not seen, how do you expect these people to veer off the route?
But they do this. Having been there, were there any signage on the road to say that, okay, let's say from 100 yards from here, you would approach, let's say, school for the deaf, so be vigilant, drive slowly, rumbles? Was there anything?
Marian, that's a good question. There's nothing like that. And authorities of the school has written several petitions to the highway authority, the regional one, as in the eastern region,
right.
For some rumble strips or speed ramps to be constructed at least in front of where the dormitories are, because there was just a recent accident that happened involving one of the teachers who is also deaf, with his young child, 3 years old, and the child died on the spot. And this man still lives with a scar. It's something so worrying, and authorities have still not responded yet. We are still on the beat trying to get them go assess the situation and find a solution to it. But the permanent solution, when I spoke to the municipal director of GES, Reverend Kisi, some time back, that was 2 weeks ago, he mentioned that a relocation of the school would help this situation, because they need a centralized system. You can't just be sleeping somewhere and studying somewhere, walking up and down in the night. It's not so safe. So a centralized system would help these students. And even at their junior sites, what I observed was that there are vast lands where it can be developed for these students to learn there. And even at their sites now where they are facing the ejection, some buildings have not even been completed. And it has been abandoned for like 10 years now, where the contractor can even not be found anywhere now as I talk to you. And this part of the stairs even collapsed. And luckily for them, they were not in school that day. And that was what even saved the situation. So, Marian, there are no signs on the road.
Wow.
And these students are at high risk of losing their lives.
Yeah, don't go away. We have a few video blogs coming in, and we are asking whether the nation actually, is even concerned about the plight of the disabled in our society. Let's take our first video blog. We'll come back and continue with our conversation. I'll take some comments that have been coming in on social media.
The government has to actually concentrate on them, because who knows who will become the next president of Ghana, or probably who become very important personality in the country. The only thing is, as education is concerned, the educational rights has to be fulfilled.
We've not heard government donating or doing anything to help. It's now that people have realized that they are also there and they are suffering. So the little they get from outside, they just come and donate it to help them.
Government is doing enough, but who is the government? The government is me and you. We the Ghanaians, we have to help each other. If, for instance, I have a firm and I don't even employ any disabled, will the government know? If the government even puts sanctions for each firm have to employ at least one disabled, will it work? So it's between we the individuals, we have to do all these things, so that if there is anything that the government have to put enforcement, then the government also can do the enforcement.
Whether government is doing enough. So we'll take our next video blog. Another one, we're asking, as a nation, are we feeling the plight of persons with disability? Do we cater for the needs of persons with disability? Let's take our next video blog.
Of course, one right thing is I can actually say whether the government is doing something about it. But from the look of things, you can see that they are just there, helpless. So with my suggestion, or probably with what I can just say is, there's a need for the government to also come into their aid. So far, we can see that in humanity, we have what we call equality. They also have to have that kind of equal right. That's really the number one out.
It's only the donations. People donate to those people, and we urge government that whatever he's doing, they are also part of us. They are all human beings. So they should also help, like he should help. When
you are in a traffic or when you join a public transport, if you see the disabled, the way some of we the Ghanaians even treat the disabled, sometimes even the family itself ignore the disabled. But to me, that's not the right thing that you have to do. When you go to some buildings or government workers, for instance, a lot, about 90%, even when they see disabled person, the thought is not even a human being. So to me, it's not good. If the government can do something better for the disabled, they are also human beings, and some of them have a better knowledge than even the able peoples. So if government can do something that can help them to be in a government firm, to me, it's okay.
So we'll take our final video blog and I'll wrap up with, we're asking whether local authorities are doing their bit, because the local authorities, they are the eyes and ears of government. They are the people who are supposed to be doing government's work at the grassroots. Yes, and all of the people who have been put in these local authorities to play the role for government, are they doing what they ought to do? Let's take our last video blog.
I would say the government is it official, because the government has it official that actually foresee to it that the requested things have been done. So with this, that's what I actually have to say.
I think the responsibility is for the assemblyman, because he has to go there in any occasion or once a while go there to find out what's going on in their school, so that he can take their complaint to the Parliament House, so that they can do something about it. So if there's a blame, I'll blame the assemblyman.
That's why the government chose them to be that side, for them to know, because the government cannot go all away from the whole country. Even when you take the Accra, for instance, there are a lot of places that the government can even not go there, because you have to see overseas, a lot of things that come on. That's why they have appointed ministers and assemblymen and all this. So they have the authority to do those works.
Welcome back. Some comments that have been coming in on social media, and I'll take one or two before we wrap up. Christian Salvo says, no, I don't think so. And it is because all of our structures are not disability friendly. And that's what you are thinking about. Nanekia says, quality education, funny Ghana. And Gilbert says, and you are sending this in from Bolgatanga. Oh my God, I think the landowners need to exercise restraint and not to take the law into their own hands. Our services to them are not adequate. They need more of our services and help. That is what you're also saying. Adomako says, not at all, but God would surely ask us. And one more comment before we wrap up, and this one comes from Anafo, and he says, Kwame Nkrumah, where are you? Please, your Ghana can't stand no more with countries she helped gain independence, only dirty and shabby politics. So many comments have come in, but we're running out of time here, so I will wrap up with before we go. So you see, from everything that you've been telling me so far, I am thinking that perhaps we don't just need to put all the pressure on government. There's some people, companies, organizations who are well-meaning, who can take up this challenge and then do something.
Okay, Marian, for this school, some benevolent organizations have been helping them. Even Saturday, they gave us a list of companies and individuals who have been helping them, because even with this grant or subvention for just their feeding, it doesn't come in on time. I was told that last year's only just came in this July. So you can just imagine. So with all this period, what happened? So they just depend on some of these organizations and individuals who donate in cash and in kind to support these children, especially in their feeding, because they don't pay fees. Yes, so that is what has been happening, and I think that they will need more hands on deck to help solve this situation.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mariam.
I'll take some more comments that have been coming in before Bright Anfo joins me so that we can wrap up together. Xavier says, how can you rent a property too and run an institution like this? Are we serious at all? Adomako says, come to Jamasi in the Ashanti region. The place is not capital not. Okay, Ambrose says, from Plains North. Donko Chrome, I don't think we really cater for persons with disability. We really need to wake up as a country for them. Abdullahi Abdul Razak, it's too bad. We need to change our lives for the better, because all individuals are capable. Charity says, not at all. We rather give them reasons to be on our streets and beg, which is very disheartening. We must help them to succeed in life. That is what Christian Salvo is saying. Kweko Pare says, may I know if the school was factored into the government's will of constructing new schools? If not, then it should be included. And for the time being, the government should Giorgio with the landowners. The disabled has been marginalized for too long a time, and I think it is time we wake up from our slumber, and that is where we end the show for today. Bright Anfo is back, so we can wrap up together.
Right, and quite a sad issue there, but we'll also be getting you more from the Nima police station, where Abigail Adama co-entry will be coming in later on at 8 o'clock with the arrest of the chief executive of Tobacco Pharmaceuticals by Iyoko. We're told that he's been sent to the Nima police station, and we'll get you more information later on at 8 o'clock.
Yep, and that is where we ended for today.
We're expecting more on that, but coming up next is a Joy News exclusive. My name is Bright Nanamfo.
And I am Marian Toure. Have a good evening.